Hi everybody, this is Dr. Brichter Von Doom. In this video, I'm going to share with you a mock for a Chitauri Leviathan that I designed and built myself. This has been a project that I've been wanting to do for quite some time. As you can probably tell from my channel, I'm a bit of an army builder at heart, and the Chitauri are one of the iconic villain armies of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but they don't really have a lot of great Lego sets to support an army build, and the Leviathan is a very recognizable creature slash vehicle from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So it's something I've been wanting to create for my own collection in Lego for quite some time. I thought it would be fun in sharing it with you in this video if I presented it sort of as a 10-year anniversary celebration of the Avengers movie, in which the Leviathan first appeared. Lego has not really done this, but I thought if they were to create an official version of the Leviathan that was kind of to scale, based on the Avengers movie, it would be fun to think about what kind of minifigures I would want included in a set like this. So what I decided to do was kind of come up with my own set, design and build it, and then share with you the minifigures that I would include. So in this fictional set, you can see that the heroes I've chosen to include are Bruce Banner right before he changes into the Hulk, the Mark 7 version of Iron Man, Captain America in his original Avengers outfit, and 3 Chitauri, 2 of them warriors and 1 of them a general. And then I've also included the motorcycle that Bruce Banner rides in on right before he punches the Leviathan right in the face as the Hulk. So I'll show you those in a little bit more detail in just a second. But for starters, I thought we would just focus on the main part of the build, since this is obviously the key feature of the video and what I'm most excited to share with you. So the color scheme for this creation does coincide or go along with the color scheme for all of the other Chitauri builds that have been official Lego releases so far. So it has the dark tan coloring with the gold and purple highlights, and then dark and light gray as the offset. The flesh color for the Leviathan itself, at least sort of the space whale part, is the light gray. So you can see that in the jaw and the underbelly. And then the armor or scaling on it is primarily the dark tan, but also with some of the more machine elements of it being in the dark gray, since the wings, I guess for lack of a better term, or fins, seem to be entirely cybernetic and prosthetic, as are the spikes that go along the back. You can see on the top here that I really tried to include that sort of shell scalloped look all the way down to the bottom, leaving a bit of space for those embedded spikes and crest at the top. The head itself, I used one of the Jurassic Park designs for a buildable T-Rex as my inspiration, and just widened it out by 2 studs to make it longer. From head on, it looks pretty good, and you can see that it does open its jaw a little bit, although I would have liked for that to be a bit larger, and maybe I'll be able to correct that with future design modifications. There is a little bit of movement at the head here. It can look up and down, but that's pretty much it. There are other points of articulation, however. You can move the entire build from side to side at 4 points. And for the most of them, there are 2 ball joints, so you only get that horizontal movement, no vertical movement, but quite a lot of horizontal movement is possible. And then for the tail at the very end, you do have a 360-degree range of motion. So it does allow for the Leviathan to be quite, I think, nicely posed. Actually, maybe it'll be better if I just turn it around there. Yeah, you can see it kind of snakes quite nicely there, I think. The cybernetic arms can articulate, although I tend to just leave them in a slightly down-angled position, and there are 3 of those on either side. One of the key play features that I was eager to include is the ability to attach Chitauri warriors so that they can be launched off these gigantic space whales, which primarily do serve as troop carriers. And so there is room to attach 2 Chitauri warriors on either side, and they do actually fit in pretty well. You can see they don't actually stick out all that much when you add them in. In terms of scale, the build is obviously quite big. The total piece count for it is 670 pieces, which is a pretty good size set. I think something like that in Lego would actually end up costing probably about $100 American or $120 Canadian. So it is quite a lot of pieces, but not outrageous, I think, for a reasonably sized version of a Leviathan. And you can definitely pose your minifigures on top to recreate some of that action that was going on top of them during the movie. So if I just stick Cap on there, you know, a pretty decent fight scene there without them looking hugely oversized for the size of the model. The only thing that doesn't scale particularly well there is a big fig. Admittedly, Hulk does look kind of ridiculous up there. With this particular model, you wouldn't really be able to reenact that scene where he punches Thor out of frame. But to make it something to scale would have really jacked up the price of a MOC like this, and for most purposes, that's not necessary, and it works very well for all intents and purposes in what I was expecting from it. So if we take a look at the minifigures now, for the Avengers, I have included a Mark 7 Iron Man, since it is him who originally leads the Leviathan towards the rest of the group that has just assembled. If this were to actually be, you know, an anniversary set, I would want some unique printing on it, perhaps some battle damage over the left side of the torso. For the head, I've just left the regular new Tony Stark face, and of course it would come with some sideswept hair. Next to him we have Captain America, and again an updated version of this original Avengers suit would be nice, especially with some dark red boots in dual printing, just to make the minifigure a bit extra special. And then of course you'd want an updated helmet to go over his balaclava, essentially. The only minifigure that I actually really created from, you know, spare pieces was the Bruce Banner one, since he isn't really in a uniform at all. He's just in a collared shirt that he got from the security guard who found him after he crash landed in Hulk form, some, I think, gray pants, and then, you know, the Bruce Banner I'm about to transform into the Hulk face with the wavy black hair, I think worked well. And really you could use the same coloring and just scrub the Octan logo and it would be ready to go. For cost purposes, I don't think I would include a big fig Hulk in a set like this where you have such an impressive sized main build. But of course, having a Hulk available in a more affordable set, if this were to be a commemorative anniversary series, would be nice for kids and collectors. The villains are a lot more straightforward. I included 2 Chitauri warriors and a Chitauri general. This gives some nice mass to your Chitauri army. since there were a lot of them at the Battle of New York and the Avengers need lots of grunts to face. All three of them would come armed with the standard Chitauri blaster build. And the only change I've made from their original version on release 10 years ago was swap out the purple hands for the dark gray hands, which I think just looks better. But these are my favorite versions of the Chitauri, since I like that they're wearing their war masks and they have leg printing on them. And I think the torso and leg printing actually is very, very good and better than we've seen with the more recent versions of the Chitauri, which all show their faces and are not really as reflective as what they came in, or what they looked like in the Battle of New York. If you really wanted to mix it up, perhaps one of them would have a face with the mask removed and two with the mask on. A few other features that I've included in this hypothetical set are a trans clear base and stock, I guess, along with the action pieces to allow Iron Man to fly just ahead of the Leviathan, leading it on to the rest of the Avengers. For showcasing purposes, I also included a trans clear base with several rounded studs just to lift the Leviathan up a little bit. Lego really almost never does this in their authentic sets, but for display purposes, I like having it, and it's just a nice way to have the MOC on display and show it flying, which is what it usually does in the movies. And I had referenced it before, but just to really talk about it explicitly here, of course you would have to include a motorcycle in the set, both for the play value and also because of that scene where Bruce shows up on a tiny little motorcycle on its last legs to join the Avengers. So there you have it, guys. My MOC for a Chitauri Leviathan, as well as my idea for a 10-year anniversary set based on the Avengers. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the minifigure selection and what you think of the MOC in general. If you're interested in the instructions for this MOC, I have posted them on Rebrickable under my account, and I've linked to that in the description for the video below, so be sure to go and check that out. Thank you so much for checking out the channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you don't want to miss out on future videos like this, make sure that you do subscribe. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.